So here we Mark Verbos at Superbooth. We've got 2 new modules to check out. Mark, do you want to run us through the new modules?
Sure, I'd love to. So the 2 new modules that we're showing here are the sequence selector and the random sampling. The sequence selector is a 5-stage analog sequencer that is intended to be used together with another sequencer or some other modules. One possibility is to use a voltage multi-stage and actually offset the sequence. Another possibility would be to select between the multiple rows on a voltage multi-stage in order to chain them together, creating a 16-stage sequence. The buttons at the bottom and the select inputs allow it to jump to whichever stage immediately, so it can go from anywhere to anywhere, or act as a selector of different offsets, or whatever signals go through the dual 5-to-1 selectors, even audio signals or whatever. Also, there's an analog address input so that the stage can be selected with voltage, here in this case with the saw wave from up here.
So with the buttons at the bottom to address switching or gates at the bottom, and we've got stage outputs at the top, you can create your own, you can reset to any point within the sequence, jump around freely.
You could actually start anywhere and end anywhere.
Oh wow, so we don't have to start step 1 and reset. You could go steps 2, 3, and 4 and that's it.
Exactly. Anyone could be the start and anyone could be the end. And also, in lieu of an advancing pulse just from the buttons, it could select. So for instance, even audio signals can be in these selectors and be chosen just manually. For instance, maybe different sources in a musique concrète sort of sense, where you just want to decide between inputs and not actually sequence through them.
So when you're using audio, what do the sliders do in that context?
The sliders are just sending a CV out of the CV.
Right, so you'd still get a CV out and switching of the audio.
Yeah, exactly.
So you could possibly do some sort of timbre control with the sliders and be switching through sources that are maybe feeding a filter or a folder. Or
Yes, great ideas.
Brilliant.
Second module is a random sampling, which is based on some of the ideas that were in the Buchla Source of Uncertainties in the 70s, but some tweaks on those ideas in order to bring some new things to the table. So the fluctuating randoms, there are 2 of them at the top, are voltages that the CVs are voltages that are varying around under rate control from these knobs or from an external control voltage, and they go from very slow modulation up to well into the audio range, and so much that they can be used as voltage controlled noise sources that wrong way.
Sorry, I'm just in level.
That can be treated as percussion sounds, even when triggered in a rhythmic way. There are also random gate outputs on all of those, or on both of those, that are uncorrelated random gates that will trigger the signals in a rhythmic nature that's unrelated, except that controlled by the same control, but unrelated to the not that when the voltage goes higher on the CV that the gate goes high, but that it is also random in its own fashion. And this allows for sort of instant California experimental.
Yeah, straight to the West Coast. Yeah.
Exactly. So the next section down, quantized randoms, are similar to sample and hold grabbing noise, but actually a digital implementation. So we have voltage control of the number of different values in the set. So it's a 6-bit word with all the bits engaged. That's 64 different options on the 2 to the n and 7 options on the n+1. And we have voltage control of how many bits are engaged. So at the bottom of the range, only 2 different values, and at the top of the range, 64 and 7.
So as that's digital, if you were doing some sort of super slow installation or just some really slow patch, they completely hold their value.
Correct. That would last forever. It would never droop. We have noise, white noise, pink noise, and what we call metallic, which is 6 detuned square waves, similar to the noise source that's in the cymbals on a TR-808. So we're able to create cymbal type sound.
Out of a personal curiosity, with those 6 square waves, are they ring modded or just mixed? Or
they are actually. They're ring modulated against each other, but they're digital square waves. So it's really XOR gates doing the sort of it's more like the ring modulator in an Arbodicy, which is a digital implementation. And then finally there's the 4-stage analog shift register, which is a bank of 4 sample and holds chained one after another that allows for, what I got going here? Allows us to create chains of control voltage echoes, basically, but also there are patch points for all of the individual sample and holds to take one or any of the sample and holds out of the equation. So 3 could be used as an analog shift register and 1 as an external sample and hold, or 4 external sample and holds, or whatever. The interesting thing about this is that the logic to create the analog shift register is creating a flam of the 4 triggers to the sample and holds, starting with the last one and moving forward. So over the course of about 2 milliseconds, it triggers them staggered. So when the same random signal is patched into all of them, and we can do that with a multiple, then and a trigger is sent into the master trigger input, we actually get uncorrelated random outputs. So useful in a situation where you're looking for more random voltages, this can be used from the same noise or input signal can be used to create many uncorrelated random voltages.
Yeah, so with a really slow input to the sample and holds, the value at the input's not going to be changing fast enough to get the 4 different outputs. But with noise and something that's fast fluctuating
enough that it didn't change over the course of that 2 milliseconds, then it wouldn't make any
Whereas
difference.
if it's noise, it's fluctuating so fast that you get 4 values.
Correct. Yeah. But as a part of the analog shift register, in order for the 4th one to be sampling the 3rd one, then the trigger has to go to the 4th one before the 3rd one, before the 2nd one, before the 1st one, in order for it to be passed down the line. It's part of the magic of the operation.
Well, brilliant. Thank you very much for running down the new stuff.